Hi, good morning. It is Monday, June 30th, 6 o'clock here. We'll get to weather and traffic in just a few minutes, but if you're just joining us, we have some late breaking news on the west side of town.
Crews are investigating, or they were still at the scene of an apartment fire that broke out earlier this morning. There were 25 units at this 2-alarm fire. Now, the fire is clear, but our Devin Karp is out there, so let's go to him right now with an update.
Residents here say this was a really scary way to wake up in the morning, but one thing they are proud of is the community around them. People who came together in an apartment complex, they say, typically gets a bad rap, but the people here cared about their neighbors, some of them elderly, making sure that everyone got out safely.
Most of the times this apartment complex gets a bad representation, but the people here, they care about each other. So the fact that I saw everyone banging on doors and I grabbed a fire extinguisher from my old apartment to bring out. It wasn't going to do much because the fire was already too big, but yeah, definitely proud of everyone.
We're going to continue to follow the story and the ramifications of this fire over the air and online at KSAT.com. For now, I'll send it back to y'all. Devin Karp, KSAT 12 News.
Okay. And Devin will join us here in a little while. Next half hour, we're going to talk Project Marvel. So
Yes, we got some big meetings taking place with Project Marvel. Last week, we had our first set of meetings, and people had some opinions, Justin. You
I'm
think
sure they did.
on Project Marvel?
just a few.
It is kind of wild
yeah.
to me. Like, you know, these things always take forever, but I feel like this is moving at a pretty
It is.
rapid
Yeah.
rate. So
Have you seen the ITC lately?
I have.
That thing
What's
is
left
like
of
a
it?
It's
shell of
yeah,
itself.
it
Well,
truly is, quite literally.
We'll see what happens.
Yes, so we are tracking a few showers on radar this morning, guys. I want to show you authority radar. We'll start with that. A lot of that's down near the coast, Victoria, Beeville. So some of this is starting to surge inland, but this is kind of a sign of what's to come because we will see moisture surging in from the Gulf later today, and I think we'll see a little bit more coverage by the afternoon. 30% chance of rain today, 20% Tuesday, Wednesday, and then another day of 30% chances Thursday. So in a week where we thought things might dry out, rain is coming back into play, and I don't think anyone's complaining here. 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. will be our window with the kind of the main show, I think, really between 4 and 7. Spotty downpours, brief, but heavy rains possible, but no flooding or hail is expected. So your KSAT 12-hour forecast hour by hour here, noontime 85. Could be a little bit hazy. We'll talk about some of that Saharan dust that'll be working through. 89 at 2 o'clock, and then eventually we're up to 92. There's your 30% chance of rain. So go ahead and grab the umbrella as you run out the door, or as you head out the door this morning. Hopefully you're not running late for work because RJ's going to tell you about some construction out there.
All right. Yes, Justin, it's 6:02 this morning. Good morning to everyone out there. We do have a crash, though, that we want to get to right here. This is going to be 1604 North at Hausman Road. Now, there are at least 2 to 3 main lanes that were closed due to this crash. You see some flashing lights there off to the distance, and this is going to be on the northwest side of town. So let's go ahead and show you our maps and see exactly the backup that we're looking at right now. So right now, our map's indicating that they are starting to shut down all the northbound main lanes of 1604 headed towards Kyle Steele Parkway. So right there, this is Hausman Road, and we obviously have Brandeis High School, which is a little bit further up the road for all of our folks that are maybe heading out to parts of the UTSA main campus, or also going to 1604 and I-10 on the northwest side. Looks like we are seeing a little bit of backup here, but we saw from that camera earlier that it looks like we are at least getting one main lane kind of trickling through there, so we will continue to monitor that situation. All right, 1604 Stone Oak Parkway. Alex reported earlier that we have cleared it out. That camera needs to be refreshed, so don't worry about those flashing lights there off to the distance. Let's take you now to the west side of town. Earlier we had that fire activity caused some delays right here for our drivers 90 eastbound over by Springvale, but we're good to go there. And then our biggest delay is still going to be right here on the far northeast side of town. That's going to be Evans Road down to Olympia Parkway. Still seeing a pretty good backup there for our drivers coming south on 35. Let's go to Alex right now with an update in Drive Cam. Alex, what's up, man? Happy Monday morning.
Yeah, good morning, RJ. So I'm over here on the northwest side. This is near the Helotes area, and I can tell you that the main lanes are actually going to be open 1604 eastbound right here near Bandera Road. What's closed right now, it looks like it's going to be the frontage road right here. So right when you pass Bandera Road, you can see all these flashing lights right there to your right of your screen. That's going to be the frontage. It looks like you are being directed to use some other surface streets right now. So I'm going to get a little bit closer to see what's going on. But the main lanes of the highway are still going to be open in between Hausman and Bandera Road, RJ.
Thank you very much for that update and for clarifying that. That makes some sense out there because we're seeing some traffic move through there. Thank you, Alex.
At 6:04 now, a local woman says a disagreement that started inside her home is what led to a deadly shooting outside of the home. San Antonio police arrived at the Antioch Village Apartments on Upland Drive early Sunday morning. They found a 41-year-old man with gunshot wounds outside a ground floor unit of the complex near I-10 and East Houston Street. A woman who lives there told KSAT that the victim was her boyfriend. She says one of her relatives had been bothering him all night before the two of them got into a fight. After they made their way outside, she says her relative shot her boyfriend.
He took him from me. He took life from me. That was my best friend, my lover, my enemy sometimes, but I loved him to death.
Police are still trying to track down the shooting suspect, who they did not identify by name. They also have not released the name of that victim.
Well, this morning, a man behind bars and another in the hospital after a stabbing on the north side. This all happening yesterday afternoon at the Woodhill Apartments. Now, we were told that a fight between roommates led to one of them stabbing the other in the chest and arms. The victim is expected to be okay, and as more details become available, we will make sure to bring those to you.
And more are recovering this morning from another shooting over the weekend on Delaware Street in the Denver Heights area. This is around 1:30 in the morning. Police told us a man was outside with his family when a person showed up, shot him in the stomach, and then took off. The victim was taken to a hospital, but right now we don't know if he's okay or where the suspect is. We'll keep you updated as we learn more.
A fight at a local bar leads to yet another shooting. San Antonio police say this fight broke out between a group of people on Live Oak Street off of I-37. We're told security started to break this fight up when someone pulled out a gun and then tried to shoot at that security officer. The suspect missed and instead hit a woman in her leg. She was sent to the hospital, but is expected to be okay.
A local family now has a chance to be reunited. Carlos Zurita, who came to the United States when he was 2, was stuck in Mexico for 30 days due to a visa delay. Now, his wife, Kendall, told KSAT that Carlos was just approved recently for his IR-1 visa, making him a legal permanent resident. The couple had been waiting years and spent thousands of dollars on immigration fees. We reached out to Congressman Greg Casar's office about the situation, and they put in an inquiry on Carlos's behalf. Soon after, his visa was approved. KSAT will continue to follow this and let you know what's next for the Zurita family.
Now to some news that could affect your bottom line. Next month, some of you may be getting smaller security checks, Social Security checks.
Yeah, that's because the Social Security Administration says it overpaid millions of dollars over the last few years.
So let's break this down. So that is due to miscalculations or people not reporting income changes. Now, instead of 10% being withheld, the administration says that it's increasing that to 50% for some recipients. People can request a waiver, though, if they cannot repay or were not at fault.
Now, this morning, Senate lawmakers continue debating President Trump's big, beautiful bill with a final vote expected soon.
This bill includes nearly $4 trillion in tax cuts, border security funding, and a debt ceiling increase, but also cuts to Medicaid and social programs.
So some Republicans like Rand Paul and Tom Tillis opposed the bill, leading to some tension with the president, who warned senators not to go too crazy. Tillis then announced that he was not running for re-election. If passed in the Senate, the bill would still have some challenges in the House. We're watching what's going on with very loud.
Okay, thank you very much, Justin. A deadly wildfire ambush in Idaho, killing 2 firefighters. A tragic story here. What we know about the suspect's death and this ongoing manhunt.
And San Antonio's new city council is facing a huge budget gap. So what's going to get cut? The decision is coming and the questions keep growing.
Coming up on 6:12 on this Monday morning, welcome back to GMSA. We're going to talk now about a deadly ambush on first responders in northern Idaho.
Just a terrible scene. 2 firefighters are dead and a third is fighting for his life after responding to a call about a brush fire in the mountains near the city of Coeur d'Alene.
Authorities say the shooter who terrorized them for hours is also dead, and they believe that this fire was deliberately set. ABC's Andrew Dimbert has more.
This morning, authorities in northern Idaho say the man behind a deadly wildfire ambush is dead.
We do believe that the suspect started the fire, and we do believe that it was an ambush and it was intentional. This was a total ambush. these firefighters did not have a chance.
Local officials say a small brush fire broke out on Canfield Mountain, and as firefighters responded to the scene, someone began shooting at them with a sniper rifle, killing 2 and injuring a 3rd.
We've got 2 unresponsive battalion chiefs, gunshot wounds, multiple gunshot wounds. 2 Coeur d'Alene firefighters are down. I'm pinned down behind Battalion 1's rig. It's clear to me that this fire was set intentionally to draw us in.
Law enforcement from across Idaho and eastern Washington rushing to the scene.
We had about 300 law enforcement officers that were on scene that were trying to make heads and tails out of what was occurring.
A manhunt ensuing, sheriffs confirming they did exchange gunfire with the suspect. Authorities later confirming the gunman had been killed, but it's unclear how he died. With the fire closing in, officials moving in to remove the body from the area.
We had to scoop up that body, and we had to transport that body to a different location.
Investigators now believe that man was the lone shooter.
Based on the preliminary information, we believe that is the only shooter.
A procession of law enforcement, firefighters, and ambulances brought the bodies of the 2 fallen firefighters to the medical examiner's office. Crowds gathering on a bridge, waving American flags to show their support. Officials saying there is no training for this kind of situation.
We don't train for. It's not something we expect. It's not something our firefighters should have to deal with.
Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, New York.
All right, back here locally this morning, San Antonio City Council members are asking themselves what gets cut. It's one of the first choices for the new San Antonio City Council and the mayor that they'll have to consider as their members face a ballooning budget deficit. However, a recent City Council meeting left more questions than answers about what to trim out of the budget. Next year's $21 million deficit is expected to balloon to $152 million the year after. And no matter what the city does, whether it raises fees or taxes or holds on to more CPS energy money, the city staff says some of the cuts will be needed. But recently, most of the mayor and the council's comments were about what they wanted to save in the budget.
Now we're going to look to the staff to help us understand, okay, what does that look like? You heard me say, though, that $150 million gap, even if we cut every library, all of Metro Health, as well as Human Services, that still only gets us to 140, right? So these are significant in terms of the changes in the budget.
City staffers will spend all of July putting together a budget proposal, which they will present in August. But it will be the mayor and the council that will ultimately have the final say about what stays and what goes.
Okay, well, 4th of July falling on a Friday. That means that many of you are going to be heading out of town for Independence Day fun or festivities. In fact, tens of millions of people are.
Yes, the AAA says a record-setting 72.2 million Americans are expected to travel at least 50 miles away from home over the holiday period that runs through next Sunday, July 6th.
Okay, so AAA predicting nearly 62 million Americans will be hitting the roads, which will be a new record, and nearly 6 million Americans are projected to fly the friendly skies, which will also be a new record.
Now, if you're staying put for the 4th of July, there are plenty of options in terms of celebrating here in the Alamo City, like the Stars and Stripes Parade on Houston Street. That starts at 11 a.m. on Friday the 4th. Then at Market Square, there will be food, music, and plenty of activities for the kiddos. Plus, the Alamo will host celebrations and a fireworks show downtown. Family fun starts at 9 a.m. with music starting at 7 o'clock that night, followed by fireworks that will light up the sky above the Alamo at 9:30.
And of course, you can't forget about Woodlawn Lake. They're going to have their annual celebration there.
Plenty of people will be down there.
Yes, a lot of people. And since it falls on that Friday, it's going to be a good time to go out and hang out with some family and friends. All right, let's get you updated on the traffic situation right now, because as we reported earlier, Alex was at the scene of this incident. This is 1604 at Hausman Road. So Alex did clarify that it was the frontage road where this crash actually happened. We see off to the distance right there, looks like we do have a little bit of activity for our drivers that are going north right now on 1604 at Hausman Road. Being reported right there as Old Hausman Road. But traffic is starting to move along, so that is good news. And right here, our maps indicating that we are, for the most part, clear on the northwest side of town. So this is going to be past Bandera Road for all of our folks out there. 1604 Stone Oak Parkway, good to go there. We're going to cycle through a couple of these here. 410 right here at 90. Also, same situation, no major delays delays here for our drivers on the west side of town after that overnight fire. And then our biggest backup, 35 at Olympia Parkway. This backup has been growing over the past couple minutes or so. Now we are past FM 1518, past Evans Road out there for all of our folks. That Schertz Parkway camera did not look good for all of our drivers out there in that one stretch of the city. 37 minutes, in fact, if you're coming in from New Braunfels right now. That's going to be our biggest delay. Everything else looking pretty good. Let's go to Alex with an update and drive cam. What's up, Alex?
Yeah, good morning, RJ. So that scene has cleared over here on the northwest side. Check this out. It happened right in front of Ferris Stadium, and the SAPD units just left the scene. You can see some leftover flares still burning on the ground, but the frontage road is back open. Also, the main lanes not being affected by this. Main lanes are still smooth, RJ.
Okay, thank you very much for that update, Alex. Dub Ferris Stadium. Justin.
Yes, indeed. Did you see that sunrise?
I did.
Beautiful sunrise. Alex got it pointed towards the sunrise this morning. Just a couple clouds out there. Here is the main takeaways for the forecast this week. Temperatures will be hot, but not too hot. We're not getting out of control here. Actually, right about average, if not a little bit below. Sahara dust is starting to move in, so we're going to see some hazy skies. The sunset this morning could even be a little more colorful than usual. And rain. Daily rain chances, spotty afternoon downpours. You know, at one point we were thinking this would be a pretty dry, hot week. It's not shaping up that way, at least the next couple of days, because we've started to get some moisture surging back in here, some tropical moisture. And you look at the futurecast here, it does show that a little bit later today we should see some showers and storms gather to our south and then work north towards San Antonio. This is around 5 o'clock with some of this activity working in during the evening hours, a possibility, and there could be some decent downpours involved here, although these will be moving fast, so we're not worried about flooding or anything like that. But we have put in a 30% chance of rain late in the day. Otherwise, it's a 20% chance. We've got hazy skies thanks to that Saharan dust. 92 is your forecast time. Let me show you the water vapor here. Look what happened yesterday. We got a good surge of moisture. We've got what's left of Barry down here. We've got Tropical Storm Flossie, and this blue color here on our water vapor indicates some pretty good moisture, and it's just kind of funneling up into Texas. It's not a direct conduit, but there's enough there that gives us some of these rain chances. Barry is no more. Winds are at 30 miles per hour. It's just the remnants of Barry, but again, it is providing some moisture. Meantime, Tropical Storm Flossie has winds at 45 miles per hour. It's moving northwest at 10. And this will affect the west coast of Mexico. It won't necessarily make landfall there, but it is forecast to be a Category 2 hurricane and then move close to Cabo San Lucas a little bit later this week. So again, those two tropical systems combined, just giving us a little more moisture, maybe a little more cloud cover and some rain chances. So 30% chance today, 20% chance tomorrow and Wednesday, 30% chance Thursday. That Saharan dust will be with us today through roughly Wednesday, so some hazy skies there. And temperatures, again, not so bad. 4th of July, I know that's a big day that everyone's paying close attention to. And we'll have some specifics for you coming up next half hour, but at this point it's looking as though it will be warm, yes, probably rain-free, but looking good for all of our fireworks festivities, and this weekend turns hotter. Okay, we are going into July as of tomorrow. So my question to you is, why do both July and August have 31 days? Is it because of the lunar cycle? Is it because it honors emperors? It aligns with seasonal festivals, or because of the sun angle? And man, we've got a dead heat here.
Look at that.
Weigh in. Let us know what you think. Go to ksat.com/poll or scan the QR code. Brought to you by Capital Farm Credit, and we'll reveal that answer here in just half an hour.
Okay, the sun. No.
Is that what you think?
We'll see.
Yes.
We'll find out.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Justin.
6:21 right now, 76 degrees outside.
Okay, coming up in just a bit, we're going to have more news, traffic, and weather. We'll be right back.
In this morning's GMA First Look, the best friends of murdered University of Idaho students Ethan Chapin and Xana Kernodle speaking out for the first time.
You know, you see the world in pure innocence, and that all gets ripped away from you in one phone call. That's just the day that changed it all.
I don't think anyone expects anything like that ever in their life to happen, and so to even imagine it in your own life is just scary and bizarre.
The couple, who is featured in the new Prime Video docuseries One Night in Idaho, The College Murders, sharing what they remember about the day they discovered their friends and 2 of their roommates murdered.
How did you remain so calm in that moment?
And coming up at 7 a.m., more of our interview with Emily and Hunter. With your GMA First Look, I'm Kana Whitworth, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Okay, 6:25 right now, 75 degrees.
A shooting by an Elmendorf officer this past week stirred up some sad memories from a tragic 2014 case, while neighbors are worrying about their city coming up.
And we're giving you a look at the roads. Alex Gomez, our photojournalist extraordinaire, seeing things out there in Drive Cam. Traffic has been looking pretty good on a Monday morning as we see the sun rise across San Antonio. We will be right back.
Live from KSAT 12. Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
All right, welcome back. Happy Monday. Final day of the month.
It is.
This is it for June.
Last day of June.
A month we'll talk about weather-wise for years to come, I suspect.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. It was a good month for us. And we'll look at the stats coming up in just a little bit. And it's got the kids thinking school's like, what, a month away?
Oh, wait a minute.
Oh,
no.
Yikes.
Man. No back-to-school sales yet.
No, not yet. We're getting there. Let's take a look at the dust, because this has, of course, been a topic of conversation. We've been talking about it for several days. It has finally arrived. Now, look, if you look at the forecast here, we're on the edge of this kind of plume, if you will. The heaviest dust is going to be out towards Houston and New Orleans, and that really is going to be the case all the way through this whole stretch. But even tomorrow, where we think we'll have our thickest concentration, it's not that bad. So you'll notice some haze, but really don't think this is going to cause a lot of problems. And keep in mind, all this dust is suspended way up in the atmosphere, so we're really not breathing it in, so to speak. Some of it does make it down to the surface, but very, very little of it. So unless you're just super sensitive to it, I don't think it's going to cause big problems. Now, if you're heading east towards Houston, it could. Concentrations are certainly a little bit thicker there. We think that this will start to wind down by Wednesday. Meantime, we have rain chances to discuss. 30% chance today, 20% chance Tuesday, Wednesday, and then another 30% chance Thursday as some moisture hangs around before we get the rain chances to go away Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So anytime this week, Monday through Thursday, between 2 p.m. and 7 p.m., we could see some spotty downpours. Brief but heavy. No hail or flooding, though, and that is the good news. Forecast for today, noontime, 85. That's when we have our 20% chance of rain, and then we bump it up to a 30% chance by 3 p.m., and especially as we go into this evening. RJ, what you got on the roads?
All right, Justin, let's take a look at some of your TransGuide traffic cameras. So we have cleared out that activity right there in the frontage road of 1604. That was northbound over at Hausman Road. So good morning to all of our folks out there. Anyone that's going to be stepping outside on the northwest side, traffic is looking much better. 281 Borgfield, no major delays out there for our folks. And give you one more shot here of 1604 Hebner, another one of our cameras here on the north side of town where we had a lot of construction. Obviously 1604 Hardy Oak, same situation there as well, as we give you a look at some of our cameras that are moving more towards the far northeast side of town. There is reports of a stalled vehicle right now at I-10 at West Avenue. I'm going to go to the website here, see if I can get a little bit more information. That's going to be the eastbound lanes of 10 at West. So again, this is going to be for all of our inbound traffic, maybe making your way over towards parts of Fresno or even parts of Woodlawn as well. So just keep that in mind. Does not appear to be causing too many major delays. 35 South looking much better than what we just saw over the past 10-15 minutes or so. Right now, our southbound traffic is starting to move along much better right here, basically from Evans Road all the way down to the 35-1604 interchange. Obviously, a lot of construction taking place there as well. Let's go to Alex with a look at things in Drive Cam for us on this Monday morning. Alex, what's up?
Yeah, good morning, RJ. And I did see that stalled vehicle as well. I-10 eastbound right there at Fresno, off to the right shoulder, so not causing any major delays. And I'm on my way still towards the downtown area. I took I-10 all the way down from 1604 and still had no issues. So as a whole, I think the city is still moving pretty fast, RJ.
All right. Well, if you have traffic questions, Alex has definitely got the answers out there. Thank you very much, Alex.
All right, 6:33 now, and by now you probably heard of Project Marvel, the billion-dollar plan to construct a new sports and entertainment district downtown.
Absolutely. It's gotten a lot of attention across the community, and the city is asking for your feedback. Devin Karp joining us live this morning with the very latest on a couple of big meetings taking place and workshops later on. Good morning, Devin.
Hey, good morning, guys. Yeah, you know, when I'm right out over here, a lot of people, when they think of Project Marvel, they're thinking of the big stadium that could be set up downtown with the Spurs. But Project Marvel doesn't just only call for that. If we take a look at this graphic here, we're going to see that Project Marvel is a big thing to try to turn this downtown area into a sports and entertainment district with improvements not only over to the downtown sports arena area, but with the potential new hotel, changes to the road, even the Alamo Dome behind me. So let's get into it with what the city wants to hear from you. They're going to be hosting these feedback sessions on everything about Project Marvel. There's 2 happening today and tomorrow, and they're going to be bringing up topics that you want to talk about, like housing, transportation, local business focus groups, and how they're all going to potentially be affected by the changes that Project Marvel would be. Now, over the weekend, I was actually able to go out to the first ever Spurs Paws in the Park dog park event they had, and then I was able to ask those people how they feel about the project and the opportunity for everyone in the city to give feedback and say how they really feel about the future of San Antonio.
Our downtown has always been probably one of the anchor areas, you know, the river walk, everything is there. So tourists, everything is going to hang around there. So I think consolidating everything under one envelope is good.
Now, this isn't the first time they've had a feedback meeting. They had one last week, and as our Garrett Berger reported, there was a lot of pushback, especially from Eastside residents, something that we at KSAT have been covering for months now because of the failed efforts that they say happened with the Frostbank Center, not bringing the development to their side of town like they were promised originally when it was built back then. So both of these feedback workshops today are going to start at 1:30. There's going to be one today, one tomorrow. There are 2 different ones. One is over on the South Side Lions Senior Center. The other is over at Morgan's Wonderland. If you can't make it to these ones, there's even ones happening next week and an online survey. All you have to do is go to KSAT.com. We've got it up online for you there to fill it out. For now, we'll go ahead and I'll send it back to you guys. Devin Karp, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you very much for that, Devin. Of course, looking at every angle of Project Marvel. Well, we're going to give you a recap here of some late-breaking news that we had on the west side of town this morning. Crews investigating the scene of an apartment fire. There were at least 25 units at this 2-alarm fire on the west side. Now, the fire is clear, but multiple people have unfortunately been displaced. Right now, a candle suspected to be the cause of this fire, but the fire department, again, still investigating and trying to figure out what happened.
We are continuing to learn more about a female inmate who died by suicide at the Bexar County Jail. Days after a Bexar County deputy stopped her from taking her own life, KSAT investigators confirmed that she later died at a hospital. 27-year-old Adriana Lastra was found attempting suicide during a routine cell check last Monday. The deputy performed life-saving measures until medical staff took over and she was rushed to a hospital. Lastra's family decided to remove her from life support on Thursday evening. Her death has been ruled a suicide, and police are investigating while the Bexar County Sheriff's Office reviews this case internally. She is the 7th inmate to die at the Bexar County Jail this year.
Well, this morning, a family still hurting, asking for answers about a deadly hit and run from 2 years ago. San Antonio police and Crime Stoppers asking for your help identifying what they say is this car right here that was involved in this deadly crash. This happened on June 25th, 2023. A man was crossing the street and then hit at San Pedro and West Laurel Street. He died 2 days later. If you have any information about the car that you see on your screen, please call Crime Stoppers at 210-224-STOP.
A shooting by an Elmendorf police officer last week is raising concerns and stirring up some sad memories for people in that city. We first told you about the shooting on Thursday. This was near West 10th Street and Old Corpus Christi Road. An arrest affidavit says 25-year-old John Blackmore II was shot and wounded after pointing a gun at the officer. This is the first shooting involving Elmendorf police since 2014, when then Chief Michael Pimentel was killed during a traffic stop. And some are worrying that this latest shooting is a sign the city is changing for the worse.
Our chief has done the best he can to maintain the city as quiet as possible. Now, it's a growth of my concern. Yes, it is.
Now, after last Thursday's shooting, police also arrested 23-year-old Sandra Laneson. They say the pair had just committed a burglary. San Antonio continues to mourn the deadliest human smuggling event or incident in U.S. history. It happened in our area back on June 27, 2022.
And this weekend marked 3 years since that tragedy. Authorities found 67 migrants inside a sweltering semi-truck, 53 of those migrants losing their lives. A memorial created in that aftermath was the center of a vigil this weekend.
Mar Rico Almanza. Presente. José Antonio Pérez Ramírez. Presente. Mayra Beltrán Frusto.
To still remember them, not to forget them. To remember that people still struggle and that we have to unite in solidarity to promote the common good. Because God is present here with us.
The torch was a representation of light, like God is the light in times of darkness, and that we need to stay strong with our community. They were abandoned here by the person who was bringing them in, and I just felt like there was really no compassion, like no empathy for the people who were there.
Llena eres de gracia, el Señor es contigo. Bendita
it was very hard to me. I cry a lot. So I am here every year because these lives lose is not good.
Together we're louder, together we're stronger. We just have to choose to use our free will for the common good.
I know that I have a voice to speak up for those who don't have a voice, for those immigrants who are living in fear right now. Bringing everyone together made me realize that, you know what, there is hope and there are people here who fight for you, who are there to give you that support. And that you shouldn't, you shouldn't give up, you shouldn't live in fear. That's no way to live.
All right, obviously a tragic situation there. While the Bexar County Emergency Services District 4 has a new interim fire chief, and that is Douglas Mickle. He has over 35 years of public safety leadership experience, including 3 certification titles. This announcement coming just days after Craig Raymond's resignation. The department's board has launched a search for a permanent fire chief with the goal of selecting a permanent leader within the next 3 to 6 months.
All right, take a look. Blue Origin's new Shepard rocket blasted off from West Texas about 24 hours ago. 6 people were on board for the 10-minute mission to space, including a married couple. Oh. This was Blue Origin's 33rd launch and their 13th crewed mission.
All right, outside with Live Cam, it is 6:40, 76 degrees outside. July 4th, what is it looking like? We've got some updated numbers and updated forecast for you. We'll show it to you coming up.
All right, thank you very much, Justin. Well, San Antonio wrapping up Pride Month over the weekend. Still ahead, what you may have missed during the local Pride Parade.
And a New York City mayor candidate says no to billionaires and says he wants frozen rents, free buses, and city grocery stores. What President Trump is saying about all that coming up. All right, we are back here on GMSA this morning. A bold statement from the man who wants to be the next mayor of New York City. He says America should not have billionaires. Zoran Mamdani, a 33-year-old Democratic socialist, is calling for frozen rents, free city buses, and even city-run grocery stores. But not everyone's on board, including the president. President Trump says Mamdani's ideas are very bad for New York and is even threatening to cut federal funding if he wins. And billionaire Bill Ackman, he's already looking for someone to run against him.
Okay, back here at home, the 89 Texas legislature passing significant amount of laws, many taking effect soon, like the Summer Willis Act. This changes Texas law by clearly defining consent in sexual adult cases. It lists specific situations that count as assault, like when force or coercion is used, when someone is unconscious or too intoxicated to consent as well, or when consent is withdrawn but the act continues. This law closes loopholes that advocates say previously made it hard for survivors to get justice.
Just some of the sights and sounds of the Pride Bigger Than Texas parade from over the weekend. The parade made its way down North Main, the heart of the Pride Central Heritage District. The annual parade, filled with lights, colorful floats, and displays, happened on Saturday night, allowing attendees to enjoy the parade without having to fight the heat.
The night is really nice because it's cool, comforting, and it's just the lights are really bright, and it's just a fun environment.
So the parade capped off Pride Week, a joint venture by the San Antonio LGBTQ+ Chamber of Commerce and Pride San Antonio that hosted events all week long.
Yes, good to see those folks out there celebrating that parade. Yeah. I'm a Jeep guy. I like the way that Jeep was decked out. Lights, colorful.
I'll always love me a night parade. I've talked about flambeau before, and obviously plenty of colors and lights and pageantry out there. So, and the weather cooperated.
Absolutely, yes. All right, let's see if the traffic is cooperating on this Monday morning. And let's see what we got here. 1604 Old Hausman Road. See the sun rising there in the background, but traffic is starting to clear out there after an overnight crash, or a crash from a couple hours or so ago. 37 at Fair Avenue. Good morning to all of our folks out here southeast side of town over by Highlands High School. And then 37 at Houston. Traffic is looking pretty good for our drivers on the east side of town, north side right now. Good morning to all of our folks there. 281 Overlook Parkway, a little bit past the Stone Oak area. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us on this Monday morning. We know it is a holiday weekend, or holiday week, if you will. So, you know what? Expecting to see some folks definitely going to be taking to the roads as we get closer to the weekend. But we are still dealing with our Monday traffic. I-10, this is going to be our eastbound traffic right here west of basically West Avenue. This is going to be right there at Fresno. Alex Gomez reported earlier that that vehicle was off to the side of the road. So it looks like we're not seeing too many delays here for our drivers that are making their way in from parts of Woodlawn or parts of 410 and I-10. That interchange always pretty busy during our rush hour hours. Okay, 35 right here. This is going to be our southbound traffic at Olympia Parkway. Traffic starting to move along here. No major delays after some overnight construction. A little bit further south now, that's going to be right there over by Pat Booker, seeing a little bit of backup for all of our folks that are making their way on 35 South over to Topperwine. Let's check in with Alex Gomez right now. He's the man with the plan and drive cam with a nice view from his windshield. Alex, how are things looking?
Yeah, good morning, RJ. Right now, I just exited the Cloverleaf over here on the east side. This is going to be I-10 near 410 interchange. And right now, just some usual traffic right here at this interchange. But throughout the city, I'm seeing some pretty good speeds. What a way to start the week, RJ.
Yeah, not bad. I see a little bit of traffic build up right there. But all in all, traffic is looking pretty good, Justin.
Yes, and I was trying to see there with Alex's shot, if you can see a little bit of the haze in the atmosphere. It does look like we have a little bit there as this dust starts to roll in. We're also saying goodbye to June. Let's do a little bit of a recap here. 98 was the warmest day, 68 the coolest. And rainfall, this is the important number here, 7.46. Wow. It's been a while since we've seen that much rain in the month of June. Of course, a lot of it came in one fell swoop, sadly. But yes, some good numbers, and we are still above average for the year. Now to the dust, and there's going to be some of it. Look, I don't think the concentration is going to be all that bad. If we're going to see some of the thicker concentration, it's probably going to be tomorrow. But you will notice a little bit of a haze starting today and continuing through roughly Wednesday. And as I've been saying, this is suspended pretty high up in the air. So for the most part here at the surface where we are, we're really not going to notice it unless you're just super sensitive to that kind of thing. The Authority radar this morning does show we've got a few showers out near Victoria, a few showers off in the Gulf. Nothing significant for now, but we do think that the radar will pick up later today. This is the Futurecast. This is just one of our computer models, but they seem to kind of be agreeing on the fact that we'll get a slug of moisture coming in from the south, and that will increase coverage of rain roughly between 4 and 7 p.m., I'd say. We could get some downpours. Now, the best chance today is actually going to be south of San Antonio, but even here in town, I think by the late afternoon and evening hours, we could certainly see some rain. 20% chance noontime, 20% chance at 2 o'clock, and then a 30% chance at 4 p.m. High temperature today will be right around 92. And temperatures actually stay at or a little bit below average this week. We'll see clouds, we'll see some rain chances, and that kind of switched the forecast on us. Originally, we were thinking it's going to be fairly hot, but as long as this moisture is hanging around, which we're getting a little bit of help from the tropics, then temperatures will stay in check. I will tell you by Independence Day, though, it does start to warm up, and we think the heat index will start to climb at that point, too. Speaking of, let's give you a specific forecast here if we're going to be heading out to the fireworks. Now, at this point, we don't expect rain to be in the forecast. Partly cloudy skies, 94 at 4 o'clock, and by the time we get around to the fireworks, probably in the 80s. Pretty typical weather. Southeasterly winds 10 to 20 miles per hour. Your extended forecast, we're going to go 91 tomorrow, 92 Wednesday, 92 Thursday with a 30% chance of rain. And then, yes, we take rain out of the picture on July 4th, and we bump up temperatures this weekend into the upper 90s. All right, our Just Ask Justin question this morning has to do with the fact that we are headed into July. And my question to you is, why do both July and August have 31 days? Is it because of the lunar cycles? It honors emperors? It aligns with seasonal festivals? Or is it because of the sun angle? Right now, the sun angle taking the lead with 44% of the vote. Do you guys have a guess here?
Give me the sun.
The sun?
Yeah,
I'll go with D. I have no reasoning for
when
this.
I don't know, when I have no idea, I typically just go with my very first instinct. And so I was going to say the sun or the moon, but I'll go with the majority here and say the sun.
Okay. That is
get it right.
that is a good guess, but it is not correct. All right, so the answer is actually because it equally honors emperors.
No way.
So this is kind of a weird quirk here. So the Roman calendar has many oddities, and while initially months were created due to lunar cycles, that was technically abandoned. They kept the months about that length, but it wasn't because of the moon. July was named after Julius Caesar and given 31 days. August was named after Emperor Augustus and initially had 30 days. But to provide equal importance because of pride, they added an extra day to August. So there you go.
And what happened to February? I'm sorry, that's another.
It's funny you bring that up.
Who got shortchanged?
There is a legend that says they borrowed a day.
Why? They had to get it from somewhere.
Yeah. Anyway.
These emperors.
Exactly. All right. We'll be back here on GMSA. Don't go away. All right, we're wrapping up here on GMSA, but join us on the free KSAT Plus app for GMSA Plus at the top of the hour.